What's up guys, Muller here with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and today we are back in the Hydra doing billions of damage. Of course, you know, a couple of months ago, or about a month and a half ago at this point I think, they did nerf Corpulent Cadaver, so we can't do billions of damage with him. So instead, the new meta is with Trunda, of course still with double Yumekos. So we've built the team. If you've seen any of the top score teams, the one thing you'll notice is they take a long time to run. I'm talking hour and a half, 2 hours, things like that. And I didn't want to do that. So we've tuned this team now to where it's full auto. Of course, you can intervene when some bad RNG happens, because that is definitely a thing, depending on the rotations. Like last rotation, there were a lot of force heads, which are positive affinity to Trunda. So you have to kind of intervene when things start going south. But other than that, you can hit it on auto if you don't want to do any of that. Walk away, let it run, get whatever score you're going to get. It's still going to be a pretty big number. We'll show you that whenever we get there. But let's look at the team. Let's get this started because it's going to be a bit of a long one. So, of course, our champions that we are using are going to be the W Mechos. Of course, got Trunda, we've got Arbiter, we've got Lydia, and then Gerptuk is going to be our damage booster for Trunda. Now, this is not the best team out there. The best team out there is actually Shuzen instead of Arbiter, and then there's a couple of armor tricks involving the new protection set 9-piece that can boost her damage even more. But I don't have any of that, so this is what we're going with. So yeah, it is what it is at this point. We'll keep working on getting the better stuff to do more damage, but until then, we'll work with what we got. So as far as builds, we've got Arbiter here is our fastest. Now I have tweaked this tune quite a bit over the last couple of rotations. The last rotation, obviously, like I said, had a lot of force heads. This one actually, this new rotation is good for Trunda. There's only one force head. However, there's some other things we had to deal with as far as the builds go. So I'll explain all that. So anyway, we got Arbiter here at 310 speed. It's the only real thing we care about for her. In a perfect scenario, she's not actually going to do any damage. The only thing she's going to be doing the whole time is her A3. So we don't worry about the rest of it. Some survival stats just in case the heads hit her, and that way she doesn't die. But other than that, all we care about is her speeds. As far as skills go, nothing else really matters. Again, ideally, we're only going to be doing her A3. Masteries, same thing. Nothing actually really matters. The only thing I would avoid on this, and this is one thing that this rotation has presented, is our counterattack mastery retribution here. We actually don't want that, because the force head in this rotation is Torment, which is the one that puts fears up on everybody. And if we don't kill Torment and he gets a turn and he hits the champions, they counterattack, they get feared. Now the whole rotation is messed up and the tune dies quickly. So we want to avoid the counterattacks for pretty much any of our important champs, so Arbiter and the Yumekos. But that is the important part for Arbiter. Next up, we have our fast Yumeko, or our faster Yumeko. I have her in Provoke set. This is, again, for this rotation, which I'll explain because Decay is in this, and we want to control that cleanse. That way we don't get the Poison Cloud put up and stuff like that, which slows down the run. So we've got her in that Provoke set. She is 290 speed, enough accuracy to land her Hex, and then just some survival stats. She has Cruelty. Pretty much Cruelty you want on just about everybody in the tune. The more defense you can reduce on the severed necks, the more damage Trunda is going to do, thus the more damage the tune is going to do as a whole. So Cruelty wherever possible on anybody that actually hits heads. As far as masteries go, we got our Adornable War Master. Again, we're avoiding that Retribution mastery as well. Nothing else really matters. For Yumeko number 2, we don't care about sets for this one. She is just a hair slower than the original, or than the first one, so she is at 285 speed. Again, survival stats, enough accuracy to land her Hex. She also has Cruelty. Everybody's booked, of course. Masteries look the same, down to War Master behind me. Just for a little bit extra damage, but she is not where most of that is coming from. We just basically need them to stay alive. Next up, we've got, let's go to Lydia. Lydia is our Hex champ, so she is in a Curse set. She is 272 speed, enough accuracy to land her debuffs. We're not worried about resist on this comp like we were with the Corpulent Cadaver, because that head is not going to be taking too many turns. Yeah, so we don't really need to worry about resistance on anybody. Of course, booked with Cruelty. For her masteries, again, just down to War Master. A little extra chance to keep those debuffs up, even though they all get wiped whenever the heads pop back up anyway. So none of that really matters. Biggest part there is the Cursed set. Next up is Gerptuk. Gerptuk is not in any sets. However, in order to make him the consumption target, he does have higher crit damage than Trunda. So his 367 crit damage. He has 249 speed. Rest of it doesn't matter. A little bit of accuracy to get the block buffs just in case any of the heads do get a turn. Again, the Poison Cloud is the biggest one in this rotation that can hurt us. Not necessarily hurt us, but it slows things down for sure. So that is Gerptuk. He again. So this, I actually booked out the debuff chance for the block buff specifically for this rotation just to avoid that Poison Cloud. Up until about 3 days ago, he wasn't booked at all. So you can run him without books. You just have to be careful with that Poison Cloud. As far as masteries go, he doesn't have any masteries. If you need help getting that higher crit damage, of course, you can go down to Flawless Execution. Again, he, in a perfect world, will not actually do any damage either, because he is just going to repeatedly do his A3. And then, of course, the star of the show is Trunda. Now, full disclosure, of course, this is a super high-end team. This is not easy by any means. This is not a mid-game account build or anything like that. The reason Plarium hasn't nerfed this comp yet is because, in their own words, these are legendaries. It's hard to build, so it's okay. So very, very difficult builds. Now, the Trunda does not need to be as strong as this one. Of course, we're going to be running on hard. The comp does work on brutal as well. However, you can actually reduce speeds by about 10. You can also run it on normal, depending on the strength of your Trunda. So here's mine. She is in Lethal and Cruel. You can see we've got 259 speed, so she is pretty quick for a Trunda. Then we got 355 crit damage, 9.5k attack, which is all we're trying to do is as much damage as possible. Of course, she is booked. She has the 6-star Crushing Rend, which adds to that damage. And then, of course, down to masteries, we are down to Helm Smasher behind me for all of that extra ignore defense. She can obviously counterattack if need be. We're not really worried about that. So we are going against hard, as I said. Now, this tune does work on brutal. However, it does require a little bit more of that manual intervention for it because, obviously, the heads are harder to pop. And then you can, of course, go normal if you need to, depending on the strength of your Trunda. For the team, as far as presets go, you can see we've got Trunda in the lead. She is just going to prioritize her A3, or I'm sorry, her A2. If for any reason the tune fails and she doesn't get a reset, she'll then go into her A2, or A3. Jeez, I can't even get those right. Gerptuk is just going to prioritize his A3. Again, if all goes well, that's the only thing he is going to do. Now, one good thing about Gerptuk is if, like, Trunda gets feared or something like that, you can actually use the A2 in order to remove the fear, because you don't need to constantly put the poisons up. Once you have enough poisons, then the extras are not doing any good. Then for Lydia, she is just going to do her A2 as well. Arbiter with her A3. And then our fast our slower Yumeko is going to open with the A3 and then secondary A2, with the fast Yumeko opening with the A2 into the A3. Now this part on this rotation we're actually going to do manually, specifically because of the starting heads. But for other rotations and like last rotation, it was just straight auto into it. So for this, let's get the run started. I'll explain why we are manualing the start, and that is because these two guys right here. So it takes a couple of turns for Trunda to start popping heads, and the thing we need to avoid is Decay cleansing everybody, and then immediately after that, Blight putting up the Poison Cloud, because that will slow everything down by 4 or 5 turns. So we want to avoid that. That is why we put the Provoke set on our fast Yumeko. So Arbiter's going to open A3, and then we're just going to A2 until we land that Provoke. And this can take a couple of turns to start. However, it's far easier to do this than try to power through it with the Poison Cloud. So there's our Provoke, and we can just hit auto and let it go. So you see it'll take a couple of turns in order to pop heads, but then it will start rolling. And then that's it for me. You don't need me to walk you through the rest of this. We'll let this run full auto, see what we get. Should still be a pretty solid score. So like and subscribe, all that sort of good stuff. I'll let this run out. We'll speed it up so we're not sitting here for half an hour. But that's it for me. We'll catch you next time, guys. Thanks for hanging out. See you later.